on from one of the most extraordinary races in MotoGP history in Austria 2 weeks ago. For the first time since 2019, the paddock arrives at Silverstone in Northamptonshire, England, for round 12 of the 2021 Championship. It's the Monster Energy British Grand Prix. From a very short circuit in Austria to a very long, wide and fast and frantic Silverstone. 18 corners around this 5.9 kilometre layout, historical circuit of Silverstone. Great to be back here after a year absence from last year. The long lap penalty loop is over at turn 14. Marc Marquez holds the best race lap record from 2019 in that barnstorming conclusion to the 2019 British Grand Prix that saw Alex Rins on the line beat Marc Marquez. It's Free Practice Friday here in MotoGP with Steve Day, Matt Burt and Simon Crafart. So it's a good morning to you and welcome to Silverstone. Regardless as to what Matt Dunn tells you about the weather, we can tell you that it is overcast and it is cold. 14-degree air temperature at the moment, 19 on track. Fresh, I think, is the word to use here this morning, as MotoGP riders will just have to be a bit cautious in the opening stages and maintain heat in their tyres for Free Practice 1 of the British Grand Prix. Great to see fans back, as it was in Austria as well. We're expecting many, many bums on seats here on Sunday for the race as well, and hopefully the weather warms up a bit as well. It's certainly not t-shirt weather at the moment as we bring you the first Free Practice session of the weekend. After a race that I don't think will be forgotten for some time, it will be talked about for many, many years to come, as Brad Binder won in Austria in KTM's backyard in an extraordinary race where it started to rain and he gambled and stayed out on slick tyres to pick up his second career victory. These are the tyres, of course, as ever, that Michelin will be bringing here. Can be a demanding circuit, this Silverstone. We'll keep our eyes on that. We'll catch up with Piero Taramasso over the weekend as well, and hopefully we won't need to see too many of the Michelin rain tyres, although on the way to the commentary box a moment ago, there were just a couple of spits of rain in the air. But before we get into the action this weekend, where Fabio Quartararo, of course, still leads the World Championship. He has a 47-point lead. Matt, what about that race? There's not too many times, I think, that when we arrive back home from a Grand Prix that you tend to watch back a Grand Prix because you've commentated on it, but it was so mad, it was so crazy. I think everybody in the paddock has had a look back at that. What a day it was in Austria. Yeah, still not quite got over it, Steve. I mean, a season's worth of drama in those last 3 or 4 laps alone. The bold and brave Brad Binder rolling the dice on the slick tyres to stay out there when the rain in Austria started to get torrential. This man, Fabio Quartararo, he was one of 5 men at the head of that race, along with Marc Marquez, Joan Mir, Pecco Bagnaia and Jorge Martin, who did peel in for the rain tyres. It wasn't a disastrous conclusion to the Austrian Grand Prix for Fabio Quartararo. Rescued a 7th place, second worst finish of the season, but as Steve mentioned, 2 difficult races in prospect, both in Styria and in Austria. The troublesome Red Bull Ring for Yamaha's underpowered M1, but in both he increased his World Championship lead. And I thought in the second Austrian Grand Prix, he rode astonishingly well. Fabio Quartararo was pulling sensational moves, and in the dry, no doubt he was going to be fighting for the victory. Yeah, it was a brilliant ride from Fabio Quartararo. Arguably deserved so much more out of the race on Sunday. But this is the man that came out victorious. He decided to take the risk on slick tyres. He stayed out there. He admitted yesterday, one more lap and we were doomed. It would have never happened. And that last lap, probably the slowest lap he'll ever ride on a MotoGP bike, with no brakes, slick tyres in the wet. It was just quite remarkable. As we now look into the Monster Energy Yamaha garage, and Matt, the stories from Yamaha that had built up in Austria did not go away post-Austria either. Maverick Vinales and Yamaha have officially split. That means Cal Crutchlow, who was due to ride this weekend anyway in place of Franco Morbidelli, moves up to the Monster Energy Yamaha team. Jake Dixon comes in for a remarkable and daunting in many ways, a baptism in fire for Jake Dixon as the MotoGP. What is going on at Yamaha? It is madness.
Incredible. The British fans at least are happy. No British rider at the start of this season in MotoGP, and now 2 to cheer on in their home Grand Prix. The fans loving it. Blimey, some of them are starting on the beer quite early. There is then Jake Dixon ahead of what undoubtedly is the biggest weekend of his racing career so far. Parachuted into Petronas Yamaha SRT, with Yamaha again having to reshuffle the pack. How many times have we said that so far this year? The fallout from the Vinales meltdown in Austria 1 means that he's now permanently gone. Confirmed he's joining Aprilia next year. That was no great surprise. And in that Yamaha reshuffle, with Franco Morbidelli still sidelined, Crutchlow, as Steve mentioned, now goes in to Monster Energy Yamaha with Fabio Quartararo. And the man who they're supporting, no doubt about where their loyalty lies this weekend, Dixon 96, well, he has the honour of being Valentino Rossi's teammate in his home Grand Prix. The 4th teammate Rossi's had in 2 months, and by all accounts, not his last this year as well. All kinds of gossip that Andrea Dovizioso, remarkably, could be coming in for the remainder of the season, with Franco Morbidelli, when fit to return, slotting into the Monster Energy Yamaha factory team, reuniting with Fabio Quartararo to help Yamaha try and win the Triple Crown. It's quite hard to keep tabs on exactly what's going on behind the scenes with Yamaha right now.
It really is, yeah. Simon Crayford, as ever, I'm sure will try and keep up to date with all the information going on regarding that. We just saw a moment ago the Suzuki garage, Joan Mir, a 2nd place and a 4th place in Austria, means he's up to 3rd overall. Worth just pointing out though, Matt, as we look at Pecco Bagnaia, up to 2nd overall after his brilliant 2nd place finish in Austria. There's a number of riders here this weekend who are going to be rookies around this Silverstone circuit on a MotoGP bike, and rather surprisingly, Joan Mir being one of them. Get this, ladies and gentlemen, Mir has not raced here at Silverstone since Moto3 2017.
Quite amazing. Yeah, the list of riders making their MotoGP bows here this weekend. Brad Binder, this young man, Jorge Martin, Mir Lecuona, Alex Marquez, Luca Marini and Danea Bastianini, all set to tackle this breathtaking near 6-kilometre Silverstone circuit. It offers a little bit of something for everybody. The Ducati horsepower will come into play, but the fast sweeping sections where it's all about agility and manoeuvrability, we'll keep an eye on the Yamahas and the Suzukis.
Well, you just saw there Jorge Martin, of course, the start of the year for Pramac Ducati. All the headlines being made by Johann Zarco, who was 2nd in the championship. Unfortunately, he had a day to forget in Austria last time out. He drops down the standings. Martin, with a win and a podium in back-to-back races, has remarkably lifted himself up to 10th overall in the World Championship. And it's good that they've got something to sing about with him and Bagnaia as well, because the last few GPs for this guy on screen, Jack Miller, have not gone to plan at all.
Yeah, Jack Miller with Alex Rins in that Austrian Grand Prix just came in probably that 1 lap too early, didn't he? Miller saw in the distance the threatening rain clouds, thought, yeah, it's going to bucket it down, I'm going to come in, take the risk. It was probably the right call, just at the wrong time for Jack Miller, and never was able to recover, but he said it was worth the punt, struggling big time on the slick tyres and was dropping out of podium contention. So yeah, Miller looking for some return to top form here.
What a day it was for Marc Marquez as well in Austria. When you look at it on paper, 15th does not tell the story at all. He popped over to see Pep over at Man City earlier in the week with his brother Alex Marquez. What a day it was for him. I have to say, when the race initially started in the dry, he was outstanding, Matt.
Yeah, he was absolutely awesome. I mean, there were 3 guys that really caught the eye in the dry conditions last time out, with Fabio Quartararo on the Yamaha. Pecco Bagnaia was riding impeccably as well on the Ducati. I mean, how long did he lead on the slick tyres? And keeping himself right in victory contention was that man, Marc Marquez. Decided to run that Michelin soft rear tyre, was the only man to do so. That was an inspired decision. It was the first time really where I think post-race it wasn't the result he wanted, but Mark was like,